Welcome to Great Talking Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the YouTube channel where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby. Welcome back to the YouTube channel, everyone. My name is KJ, and I am the host of Great Talking Entertainment official channel. And today's spoiler review is for the new series on Hulu, Murdaugh Death in the Family, Episode 2, spoiler review. So if you have not seen this, please pause this. And before you go, could you hit the thumbs up button? I truly appreciate that. Come back, let me know what you think about Murdaugh's Death in the Family in the comments below, and let me know what you think is going to happen in this Caesars. So again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Now, let's get into it. This episode starts off at the University of South Carolina College, and this takes place there in March 1989. This is when Alex, and I believe it's Maggie, Murdaugh, that they were dating, who are now husband and wife, right? And this is just pretty much demonstrating like the father and son, like father like son. And because in that time when Alex Murdaugh was a young college student, he was drunk driving and being reckless, and he was messing with the cops. And he was a little cocky about it, because when they got pulled over, they, the cops put her in the back seat. But his dad, Alex's dad, the senior of Murdaugh, got him out and just kept him at the college campus, and everybody else went downtown. So that's the show's like, where did he learn this from? And why? And now he is projecting or projectiling onto his children, and it just shows like that. And you know what? The actor who plays this guy, he is so good, and his name is Jason Clarke. Really nails this. Like, he really sounds like a typical Southern guy, and I mean, he really makes this so believable that he's the actual Alex Murdaugh. The way he gets his mannerisms to this guy, and wow, what a performance. This guy, I mean, Jason Clarke is really outdid himself. What a performance. Just how he was in this. And man, like, just seeing him act away, like this is totally the opposite of his personality in real life. And for him to do a transformation mentally to get in this mode, and it's crazy. I don't know where he got it from, but man, he's literally so good at this. And in this particular episode 2, to me, he was really the star of this episode. Like, and he just, every scene I can imagine who's watching this was just eyes glued to the screen, just watching this man perform. Like, he to me, it's like, if you're watching this show, like, I think you would, like, I felt a certain way towards this Alex Murdaugh. I felt angry at him. I felt disgusted by the choices he's made, and I can imagine other people feel that way. But that's what makes him Jason Clarke such a good actor, because that's his job, is to perform like any type of character, whether it's a show or movie, and make you and really tug your emotions like that while you're watching it. So he deserves to win an Oscar for this season and this show, actually, and a couple other people there, of course. So he really did that. So Again, after they take everybody to the police station, the next scene is back to the hospital where you see his son Paul, who's, just like his father. He's very drunk, and this shows the viewers that money and power can corrupt people. But the only problem is they were in a part of South Carolina where he didn't have no strings, and we see Alex and Randolph Murdaugh talk to the other parents and try to create a story and making them make sure don't talk when don't need to be talked about. Only talk when your lawyer is present. Changing the story a little bit. And this is tough because Paul is so drunk. I mean, he says some outlavish stuff that just, it would just blow your mind, right? And I'll be honest, I chuckled through some of those moments because I was like, wow, like, I can't believe he said that. But it was something like I would imagine somebody his age would say inappropriate comments like that to a female nurse, which you should never, ever do that. But I chuckled when I'm just I'm like, wow, they really went there. But they're showing in this scene like how these people are, how they're raised, what their mindset, and in a case you can say this is what it's like being spoiled somebody to a high level. But that's a different topic, and people can debate on that, on whether it's too much spoiling. But for me, just based on this episode, Paul was very spoiled, so he would say smart ass comments to me. And I think in a way the grandfather regrets how he raised his son and how he sees his grandson at. And he's just trying to help, but to keep his grandson Paul out of prison, because they're gonna, if they go to prison, it's gonna be some years. But we find out that they cannot find the body, and this is where it gets a little crazy. And again, Alex and Randolph Murdaugh are trying to create the story or rephrase the story and put facts in there, but also add more, stretch the truth out. That's what it is. So, this is a typical stereotype of there's no such thing as a good lawyer. They're all into it. But again, Marilyn Beach is missing, and can you imagine the family waking up in the middle of the night saying your daughter has been in a bad boat accident and they're gone? But they got to find this boat, but the boat is so badly damaged with a bunch of blood all over it into the boat. And then we get introduced to Mandy Mataney, which she is the woman who actually, the journalism woman who actually reported this story because she wasn't buying it, what was going on, and she was going to report this and figure out this situation and show how much this family is corrupted, or more on just Alex Murdaugh's corruption of just being a dirty lawyer in the sense of it. And I think that's what they're just trying to show in this. And when we get to Search Day 2, she's there. Mandy's there, and she's a journalism again. And she's trying to talk to people, but the cops won't let her for obvious reasons. And the family's too devastated. Even the boyfriend, he is so worried, and which is totally understanding. And then, it's interesting too. Within that scene, this gets very dramatic. This shows there's cracks, and you see Alex Murdaugh start crumbling. because this is a situation, no matter what, you really can't get out of this situation, no matter what, for the fact that he allowed underage uh teenagers, young adults, or minors have alcohol unsupervised and have this incident, because that boat is like Alex Murdaugh owns that. That's his property. And since his son's underage, it's his responsibility to handle that. And, you know, I get it. He wants to make sure his son don't go to prison for this, but he's only trying to do that because he's more concerned about how the public views the family of the Murdaugh. And that's what he's more concerned about. And I think Mandy sees that. That's why she sees him a little panically. I think she sees the weakness of him. Like, he is touchable, but we know that, you know, this is a quote unquote powerful family that runs this town, the town that they live in South Carolina. And then later on this scene, Alex Murdaugh. He's financially in debt and he owes a lot of money. And then we learn that whatever his clients he has, he scams them with like a fake investment or some sort where he can get more money with the settlement that they want, and they have him invested in something that he can get financially beneficial. So again, Paul visits Morgan in the next scene, and she is very upset because Paul doesn't really remember, but, you know, he does and he doesn't because of the alcohol, all that alcohol he drank. So his memory's a little foggy. But throughout this episode, he starts having little flashbacks of the moment. And at this moment, Morgan's just mad at him because he wasn't really responsible. He wasn't saying he was sorry. He wasn't trying to be caring. He was just worrying about himself, and he feels like it was all their fault. So Morgan decides to talk to Mandy about this and give her a little heads up, because she's gonna start writing an article in the newspaper about this family. And, you know, Mandy promises to do the right for Marlene, and Morgan's father told Mandy again, like, his families are powerful people. You don't want to mess with them. So again, this town does fear them because some of these parents are just helpless, because we know he's got dirt on a lot of them. And so they're going to listen to him because he's done so much for them that he hangs that over them, makes them feel guilty, which that's manipulating people. But when you have money and power, that's what usually kind of happens in real life. So this is not new. I'm sure people have known this before, but just seeing this really darkens up the episode, changes the tone. For a while, it was brighter, it was daylight. Now they're kind of putting these characters in a darker time. You see them like at night, and you know they're on some shady stuff. So I really like that, but they really setting the tone of this. When we get to search day number 8, as it's been about maybe 2 weeks, if it's day 8, or maybe a whole week or 2 weeks and a half, maybe something like that. We see Alex Murdaugh fiending. He's craving for the pain killers that he's addicted to, of these pills, and he's just looking for them. And then as Maggie's watching him fiend, she's upset, but Maggie Murdaugh, she showcases that she wants to not lose this marriage, but she thinks she can change him. She believes that, which when you love somebody that much, that's a typical reaction to do. And she's ignoring the red flags, she's ignoring the signs of what's to come, and she thinks she can control him by giving him a little bit of pills, which it just never works, right? But then Maggie wants to go help find Marilyn, and she makes Alex go with her. And as they're getting ready to find her, they found the body, and this is when reality hits for Paul, because Paul is realizing that this is his fault. Paul has realized there's a poor young girl has passed away because he chose to be reckless. He chose to be drunk and drive a motor speedboat and crash. He chose to get drunk, angry, and his actions caused this. And he knows that all his parents are going to do whatever it takes to keep him out. And it's sad to see his mom do that, but she's so desperate to keep this family perfect ship shape because she doesn't want to be ashamed. She doesn't want people to judge her. She don't want to see her friends, her neighbors, her peers, her coworkers, whatever. She's supposed to be this perfect housewife with a successful family, and they're going to tarnish the last name Murdaugh with this situation. So they're not even trying to talk to their son Paul and get him the help he needs. They're showing that being overprotected for your child, this is way too much overprotective. So now this whole episode now villainifies Maggie because of that. And she's going to stick by her husband and family side over this. And again, this is like the worst thing it gets, because next we get a scene where Alex Murdaugh is talking to one of the kids, the young adults, his parents, and say, look, you have to go have your son say, hey, he was holding the steering wheel. And he's using blackmail on the father, but he got him out in trouble a lot, I guess, from a fight from high school days in their senior year. So he has a lot of blackmail on a lot of people, and he's using it just to protect, his son, but to really protect the name of his family. It's a legacy pretty much. And again, she's only 19 years old, woman, but luckily, Mandy Mateo put it out on the newspaper, and now it's exposing them about this. And now this gets tough because they got to get everything right. They all got to go to court, but they're very confident that they can get through this. And this episode really showcase again, when you think you're untouchable, you are touchable. You're not above the law, and eventually karma is going to come back at you. Now, I do like how they're portraying the kid, or now grown man now, Paul Murdaugh, that at this time when that reality hits him, he now feels guilty. He does show that he may have a conscience. He may, actually care and want to do the right thing. So they're teasing that too. But it's like a little bit of a flame of it. And as you can see, now the parents are going to try to corrupt their own son just to protect the legacy of their family. And that's what this episode is really showcasing about now. That from now on, when we get to episode 3 and beyond, this whole thing is about the name of the Murdaugh family, and in their own way, they think this is how they're protecting it. They have to try to look as perfect and happy as they can be, right? And they got to look as innocent. And it just seems like everybody in the neighborhood knows it, but they have no power to stop him, that family. And to see this Mandy, who's a news reporter or journalism, she put that out there, and she's gonna get this family shaking in their boots. But this was a very, like, to me, this is like a whole episode of why you should never be drinking and driving any type of motor vehicle, whether it's on the water or on the road. Like, this is this is a prime example of what a corrupt lawyer would do for money, and it's pretty sad that this was based off from a true story and some true events. But again, this was, for this episode, man, the drama, the acting, the dialogue was so powerful, was so, highlighted. You felt the passion, you felt the mood change throughout the scene. The actors and actresses really told a story through their words and as a performance. And this is the type of show that gets you hooked on and glued to your seat to watch. So this was episode 2. To me, was a really great episode, and it demonstrated so much, and it's foreshadowing a lot more incidents and chances to happen and for the next episodes and stuff. So I would say this one out of 10, I would give this a 7.5. It's really good. It's really, really, really good episode. The only thing I could say negative about this is there is times where I can tell there were certain things were cut. Every movie, every show has to cut some scenes out. But there was times where, like, for me, I think when they showed the year March of 1989, I get that they were trying to show that when Alex Murdaugh was a young man, they never clarified, or maybe I didn't notice, but they never clarify, was that Maggie when she was young or what? But, and would she stick with that long? I don't think so, but it was just a thing. But we never heard anything else about it. Or maybe they're saying it for the next episode, but to me it looked like there was stuff cut out for that particular scene. But that's my only negative. That's why I'm only giving it a 7.5, because it doesn't really add up. It's just the fact that it just shows, like, hey, like father, like son. That's it. But I think they could have just said that through dialogue to me and just bring it up as they were talking. But nothing like that. But that's my spoiler review, y'all. Thank you so much. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Subscribe. Hit that notification button so you always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace out.